So my name is Martin Maes. I live in Belgium. I'm 21 years old. I love simple things, but I truly love to ride my bike, and this is what I do the best. I've been riding for forever. Like I say, my dad used to race, so he kind of introduced us, myself and my brother, my sister, to riding, and we've never stopped since then. So obviously Belgium is well known for cyclocross riding, but we actually, in the south where I live, we actually have some good trails, and we are quite a big community to ride bikes and to shape and shovel a little bit to make good trails. And I can push my limit here in Belgium. Obviously, we don't have much elevation like on the EWS or on big mountains, but we have enough to train and we have enough to perform and get better every day. So that's what it's all about. And the winter is pretty hard here. It's cold, it's rainy, and having the chance to ride in those conditions, I think is an extra in terms of skills, because if you ride well in the snow and if you ride well in the mud, then if it's dry or even dusty, it's going to be easy. So I started off with dual slalom, then moved on to four cross and downhill, and then it got to a point where I just wanted to spend a bit more time on my bike, and downhill wasn't actually much time of riding, so we kind of switched, and I kind of switched from downhill to enduro, because just I wanted to ride more my bike, and I had some good physical strength as well, and I really love to push my limit and push my bike. So I think enduro suits me pretty well in terms of physical strength and technical strength. I've been riding with him since a long time, so my dad used to race dual slalom, and then he used to race some downhill. He competed with Nico Vullios back in the days, and even now, I ride with my dad. And yesterday I was with him riding again. And I was following him, and I was like, damn, he's still very fast. He's almost 50 now, and I have to actually push to follow him, and he's very impressive. I don't think there is any explanation, but from the education that we've got from my dad and also my mum, they've never pushed us to race, and they just introduced us into mountain biking. And like I said, that's something that I've been loving to do, and any kind of bike and any kind of condition, I just love riding my bike. And so we went on holidays. It was in August 2012, so I was only 14 years old, and we raced the Enduro of Nation in Italy, SOS2, and we were all my family on holidays, and we just had the bike, and obviously it was planned for me to race, and my brother, we had a team for the Nation Junior, and I finished fifth. I was behind Nico, I was behind Jérôme Clemens, Dan Athertons, and that's actually where I got picked up by GT and Atherton Racing in 2013. So it just kind of came from nowhere, but it was actually a big surprise the first time that we've got an email from Martin Racing saying that they were actually interested to have me in the team. It was like a dream coming true. So obviously the season is full on. There is not much rest. There is a lot of traveling. So I try to have at least 4-week breaks after the season, just to reset the battery and to get a bit of a lot of motivation back, because weekend after weekend we're racing and we push our limits, and sometimes you kind of forget all the importance besides racing and training. But I try to keep a good balance in between racing, resting, and living life, because I'm still very young, and I think it's truly important to still have some good times with my family, have fun with some friends. It's very important for me. But yeah, I just reset myself for months, and then I get back into training, but not only riding. I like to, I'm a huge fan of sports in general, so if I have a friend calling me to play a match of football, I will go for it. If I want to go tennis, if I want to play tennis, I will go for it. I do a lot of running, I do a lot of swimming, so I try to touch to different sports, and I think that's makes me better. And also not getting stuck into riding all year long is something that remains very important for me. So like I say, I did a full season here in Belgium, racing downhill bike, but then I got to a point where I didn't have enough riding for my body, for myself, and then that's why I switched riding, doing races, downhill races to enduro races. But I kept riding my downhill bike a little bit, because I raced in 2013, the first year I was with Yatsen Racing. I raced for William, and then which I won, and it was already a massive surprise for me and the whole team. And then I raced in 2015 in Dora, and so Andorra was the World Championship, and I finished second. I was second behind Laurie Greenland. So that was a good memory as well. And I've never stopped riding downhill bike, but living in Belgium, you don't have much opportunity to ride the downhill bike, just because it's not steep and rough enough here in Belgium. But yeah, I've always loved riding my downhill bike, because this is where you actually push your limit, mentally, physically, and also the skills that you have. You can express all of it on a downhill bike. Probably 5 hours of training a year, and maybe 2 or 3 days a year racing. So originally the plan is 2018 wasn't to race any downhill. I dislocated my shoulder in Colombia, the second round of the EWS, and right away all the team and myself knew that for the overall it was kind of over, because when you miss a race, like for the overall, it's very hard to come back, unless the top boys fail like I did, but you never know after 2 races. So with Mark Morrison, which is my mechanic and team manager, and myself, after Colombia, we knew it was over for the overall, which was the goal of the year. And we were like, come on, let's go, let's race some downhill, have fun, and we have a new bike as well, the new Fury, and we were extremely motivated to try this bike and just to race some downhill. So we went to Bresse with a solid result because I got top 10 in Fort William in June. So we knew the bike was very fast and I was feeling good on it. So we came to Bresse. It was very close to my house, and which is only 4 hours from Belgium. And we went there very motivated. The conditions were horrendous. You know, it was rainy, extremely cold, and it was a bit the condition that we have in Belgium. So, and I knew before my run that it was a big mental game, because you know it's raining, it's very cold, and it's not the ideal situations to start a race. And I was extremely motivated. I was feeling good on the bike, and we had a good setup on the bike. So I just went for it, and I took a lot of risk, obviously. But yeah, winning my first ever World Cups was a little bit unreal, and it took me actually a few days to realize what happened. And obviously after Bresse there was a lot of doubt. All the conditions were a bit different, and yeah, 2 weeks after we went to World Champ. And the main goal was just to prove that it wasn't only luck, but actually that I could be once again on the podium in totally different situation, in dry conditions for World Champ, and a different country as well. So I was super happy to prove that I could actually do it again. Obviously we had a big party, you know. I had a lot of phone calls from GT, and but we didn't go crazy, you know. We kept it all real, and we were focused on World Champ again because it was pretty close, only 2 weeks. Just went back home, celebrate with some friends, my family, and yeah, it was two amazing weeks, extremely busy, but very nice. And obviously all the team enjoyed it, and we had a great time after the race, obviously. So my goal after Bresse, there was a lot of doubt about situations, conditions of the race. Maybe for the top guys coming a little bit later, it was a bit more greasy. So there was a lot of doubt from the media, but also from the rider. And going into Lanzarote World Champ, the goal was just to prove that it wasn't only condition, it wasn't luck, but it was actually, I actually deserved that win, and I went faster than anyone else. And yeah, the goal for World Champ was just to prove that I could do once again a solid result with a totally different tracks and totally different conditions. So yeah, I woke up Sunday morning before World Champ, and I was extremely sick. I didn't even eat in the morning. I went straight to the doctor because I had a very sore throat, and it's, you know, very annoying. My ears were pretty damaged as well, so it wasn't a good way to start the day before World Champ. Went to the doctor, and he said that I shouldn't race, but you know, I was there, I was feeling good again on track, and nothing was going to stop me. Um, it was good, you know. A lot of people were happy for me, and I was also happy to be back on the downhill bike and having some bigger days, you know, riding the bike and be back to enduro races. After my win in Whistler, it was a very special month, winning back-to-back Whistler and Bresse, and then going to World Champ, getting a second place. So I went back to Ainsa And yeah, it was nice, you know, being back on an enduro bike, and like I said, being able to ride for a little bit more, and ride with our friends and competitors, because we always ride as a group on a liaison, and it was extremely hot in Ainsa, and I really liked it, and just seeing the people happy for you and for the result, I think that added a little bit to the sport of enduro, you know, a bit of credibility as well, so it was nice. Not really. During practice, we obviously focus to save as much energy as possible, and also set up the bikes, suspension-wise and brake-wise. We try to have the best compromise, you know, and I think that really does makes a difference on race day. You know, if you feel really good on the bike, if the bike is well balanced suspension wise, it does help me to have a bit more flow, and to, at the end of the day, being faster. So that's what it's all about, obviously. Uh, I didn't have bad moments, but maybe the worst one was in finale, where I broke my hand. It was obviously very disappointing, because I was fighting for the first place and for the title, and you know, right after the first stage, pretty much everything was over, and it took me a few days to actually, you know, get over it, and feeling well again, because you know, when you have a broken hand after a season, it wasn't a big injuries, but you just want to chill after the season and do just different things, because you've been racing for 10 to 9 months and training, and you just want to, you know, relax a little bit and do a bit of moto, and go and play with your friend on your bike. But I was actually stuck here and recovering from my broken hand, so it was a bit disappointing, but you know, not a big deal, just a broken hand, and it only took me 6 weeks to get over it and be back 100%. So. Um, by far the best moment was winning my first EWS in finale. I had some highs and low in finale, but my biggest high was winning my first EWS back in 2016. Just for all my sponsors, my family, everyone that involved the whole team, you know, and getting that win was, you know, a way to say, you know, thank you, really thank you for everything that you've done for me in the past, and you will do in the future. You know, it was very emotional, and like I say, my whole family was there. My grandparent, I remember him standing just in front of the podium when I was standing on the top step, and that's probably something that I will never forget. You know, the Enduro World Series is only 6 years old, and there was a lot of progress since the very beginning, a lot of changes, and now with the UCIs getting involved into the to Enduro, I think that's gonna add a little bit more credibility to the sport, and hopefully in a few years' times be even a bigger sport with more athletes coming from downhill, coming from cross country, and try to get that first place and that world championship in the future. I think that's what makes EWS so good, you know. We have different formats. Sometimes you have lift, sometimes you don't have lift access for liaison. Sometimes you just have to pedal all day to get to all the stages. I personally like a mix, a bit of everything. Having lift access for a few stages, having to pedal to the stages because that's what's all about enduro. Having long stage like we had in the past in Whistler, you know, when you have a stage from top of the world to down to the village, it's 20 to 25 minutes of racing only for one stage, and I think that's, you know, that's so good for the sport, and the variability of the sport is huge, and I think you can do anything, and I think that's what make it so intense and so good. But I don't personally have a favorite format to the sport, and I just like a good mix of everything to make a good weekend of racing. And at the end of the day, you know, you just want the best to win, and not the fittest, or not the guy that is does a lighter bike because the enduro is too physical, you know. So no, a good mix of everything is what I like the most, and the long days, you know. So it's nice to sometimes get a bit of lift access to mix it up. Yeah. Um, I'm not gonna judge, but I'm very sad for Jarrett and Richie because they are good guys, and uh, I think they knew what they were doing, and as an athlete, you have to be careful of what you're taking besides natural food. And I think if you're taking something else, then you have to know what's inside the thing, what's inside the supplement, you know. And I don't blame them, but they could have get away with it if they would have been a little bit smarter. And you know, the fact as well that we never get doping control at the races, and it's been so many years that we race and we've never got anything. And some people might have tried to just get away with it and say, oh, I'm just trying my best, or I might as well take more supplement to make it better, to make myself better. And I'm just very sad for the sport, because the sport is growing and the sport definitely didn't need that. But what can you do? So first of all, I think that doing both uh, is simply impossible, time-wise, training-wise. It just a full season of downhill or either on the EWS is just way too much traveling to do both, you know. But the main idea for the next 3 years is first of all to get an EWS title. So that would be 2019 or 2020, hopefully, and then slowly, once I've got that title, which I hope is gonna come fairly soon, I'm gonna move slowly to downhill, because there is more media, there is more credibility to the sport, and it's kind of a new challenge, you know, as well. So that's the main idea for the next 3 years, is to first of all get that title, and secondly move slowly to downhill, and hopefully do the same. That would be a dream, you know. There is a lot of people like a lot of riders like Sam Hill or even a few more that did very good in downhill and then moved as they were getting older to enduro, and the idea would be to do the opposite. Simply just spending more time on the bike is, I think, it's the main difference between enduro and downhill. You know, we out for 5, 6, 7 hours during race day, and we're not only racing, we're pedaling on the liaison, and that's part of racing, but you don't kind of feel like you are racing. You're not scooping lines or anything like that, you're just pedaling, and that's part of enduro and the fitness, the involved enduro as well. Just excitement of the 5-minute run that's just gonna make you all weekend, because obviously you're training, but you only training for that race run, and it's so exciting to be at the start gate and knowing that in 3 or 5 minutes the race is gonna be over, and the race is gonna be over, and that's the whole excitement about downhill is unbelievable, and the excitement that you get in downhill doesn't even match enduro. Like, it's nothing even close to enduro, and that's why I love so much downhill. It's because it's so exciting, it's live on TV, so you have that pressure as well and motivation, and you know that there is a lot of people watching you. And in enduro it's totally the opposite. You know, you're lost in the forest, and you know, no one knows that you're actually racing at that time, or yeah, I kind of miss that excitement sometimes after racing downhill. Moving back to enduro, I'm like, oh, you know, there is no spectators, there is no TV, and there is not that excitement that everyone loves. I would choose downhill because I would be scared to regret that I didn't try something else. So I would choose downhill if I had to. So when I think bike setup, the first thing that comes to my mind is the balance of the bike. I truly believe that suspensions settings are crucial, and when I mean that the bike has to be balanced, I mean that for me to feel good on the bike, the suspension's got to be balanced and work at the same time. And like I say, when setting comes to my mind, that's the first thing that I see is the balance of the bike. If the bike is well balanced, you're gonna go fast and you're gonna feel good, and you're gonna carry speed. You're not gonna over brakes, and that's gonna make a whole difference for me. So I really focus on the balance of the bike, and once the balance is good, I'm good to go and I will perform good. Not really. I've got a few things that I'm particular about, like brakes lever. You know, everyone likes is right angles and of the brake lever, but that's something, you know, common. I would say the pressure of the tires as well. Uh, you know, the gears that are running well, that is well precise. You know, nothing crazy. No, just like I said, the balance of the bike, everything's right in place, and I'm good to go. I'm not very difficult, but I know what I like to have and what I want to have to go fast. And my mechanic and team manager, Mike Morrison, knows as well what I like, which make working together even better and easier. I think we've seen quite a few new design of frame, a few new innovation as well. But I think right now most of the brands are all on top of the game, but I'm already very excited to see what's going to happen in 10 years time, to see the technology just moving forward, and you know, the weight as well of the bike going drastically lower and lighter, and yeah, I'm curious, and also for puncture, maybe mousses in the future. No, I think we're going to see a lot of changes, but that's going to take a little while. I think that was my race run in La Bresse. That's I just felt like I was 100% from the top to the bottom, and I just took the right amount of risk to make the perfect run. And you know, when everything happened all together and you cross the finish line, you're like, damn, I've got it, and I'm happy that one is out of the way. And you know, straight away, like I say, when I crossed the finish line in La Bresse, I kind of knew something special just happened. And it's a great feeling, because it's when all comes all together that you kind of happy, and you just feel the pressure going away right away, and it's a great feeling. Yes, I'm not done yet. I've always looked at Jerome Clements, because he was the first EWS winner of all time in 2013, and just his simplicity and the way you could approach him, and he's always been himself, and very natural and simple, and that's what I like about Jerome. Is so good. And also, you know, sometimes like someone like Nico Vulios as well, like he's always been so particulate about what he wanted on his bike, and you know, settings, setup on his bike. I think he was one of the first to have to pay attention to those details, and and you know, with what he's done in the past with car racing as well. I love cars, and I've always looked at him like a big example, and yeah, Nico is a special human as well. Yeah, I've always looked at Travis Pastrana, because the guy does anything and everything, and is so versatile, and I would love to be able to do everything that he does, and yeah, he's someone that I've always looked at. No, just maybe just to say thank you to all my sponsors, and everyone that's been involved into my progress and process since 2013, the first time I signed in a professional team. Just everyone that's been around me and helping me and cheering for me, and all the fans, you know, as well. When you go to a race and you see so many fans cheering for you and being happy for you, ask for a photo, ask to sign a shirt, to give them a shirt. There are those people that, you know, it just makes you happy, and when you can make someone happy by seeing a shirt or taking a picture with him, just say thanks to everyone. Simple.